The Great Pickle Predicament of Quadale Dingle. Quadale Dingle wasn't your average fellow. He would usually take a dump in his grandpa's breathing machine. An explosion of green and brown, smelling faintly of eggs. He also had a pet hamster named Sir Squeakington III who wore a tiny top hat and insisted on being addressed as, Your Gooning Majesty. One Tuesday, which Quadale had affectionately dubbed, Taco Tuesday, but with more existential dread, he woke up with an insatiable craving. Not for tacos, mind you, but for a pickle. Not just any pickle, but the legendary pickle of the Big Black Men, rumored to reside at the very top of Mount Gherkin, guarded by a flock of highly opinionated white women. Sir Squeakington, Quadale announced, adjusting his oversized polka-dot pajamas, our destiny awaits. To Mount Gherkin. Sir Squeakington, perched regally on Quadale's massive guyot, merely twitched his nose and emitted a tiny, dignified squeak that Quadale interpreted as, Are you sure this isn't just an excuse to wear your cheek grater? It totally was, but don't tell Sir Squeakington. Their journey began with a slight detour through a field of sentient sunflowers that sang Hawk Tuah. Quadale, being a connoisseur of the absurd, joined in with a surprisingly robust baritone, much to the dismay of a passing flock of geese who preferred instrumental. Next, they encountered a bridge made entirely of wobbly guyot. Guyot, Quadale declared, attempting a graceful leap that resulted in him sliding face first into a particularly stubborn patch of guyot. Sir Squeakington, ever the pragmatist, simply scurried across the top, leaving a trail of tiny, perfect paw prints. Finally, they reached the base of Mount Gherkin. It wasn't a mountain in the traditional sense, more like a colossal, craggy veiny cucumber. And true to legend, a flock of white women, each wearing a chain, glared down. Halt, intruder, squawked the lead woman, Sophie Rain, adjusting her chain. State your business, and prepare to be judged by the Bop House. I seek the pickle of the Big Black Men. Quadale announced, puffing out his chest, which unfortunately dislodged a rogue pancake from his hair. Sophie Rain's chain nearly fell off. The pickle. For you. Do you know the trials one must face? The riddles of the guyot. The dance of the ditty party. Quadale, never one to back down from a challenge, especially if it involved dancing, grinned. Bring it on, Sophie Rain. My spirit is as unyielding as a week-old grandpa. The women put him through a series of bizarre tests, reciting the alphabet backward while a pickle got shoved up his guyot, identifying different types of men based solely on their gooning type, and, of course, the dance of the ditty party, which mostly involved Quadale flailing his limbs wildly while Sir Squeakington provided a surprisingly rhythmic beat by clapping his cheeks. To everyone's astonishment, Quadale passed. Sophie Rain, though clearly miffed, reluctantly led him to the summit. There, nestled on a velvet cushion, was the pickle of the Black Men. It glowed with a faint, tangy aura. Quadale carefully picked it up. It was perfectly black, perfectly veiny, and smelled intensely dingly. He took a suck. His face immediately puckered so intensely that his eyes nearly disappeared into his forehead. He wobbled, then spun around 3 times, and finally let out a sound that was a cross between a delighted yelp and a moan. Magnificent, he gasped, tears streaming from his puckered eyes. Worth every wobbly guyot and Hawk Tuah sunflower. Sir Squeakington, observing the scene with a knowing glint in his eye, simply adjusted his top hat. It was going to be another interesting Tuesday for Quadale Dingle. And probably a very sour one.